Here's a picture of, we'll call it the unit circle. And so when we say that, we're talking about this radius having a radius of 1 here. And so that would be the coordinates there would be 1, 0, if you wanted to think of it that way. 1, 0, that point right there. And then the point right here would be -1, 0. And then up here you'd have the point 0, 1. These are the quadrantal angles. I'm not sure where it's doing it. And then down here you would have the point 0, -1. Okay, so that's just kind of to get us started. A lot of people love the unit circle. I don't have a copy of the unit circle in my wallet that I carry around, but that's the thing about the unit circle. If you use that as your reference, then you kind of need that copy or to be able to create it or memorize it. And that's fine. Like I said, a lot of people really love the unit circle. So, but what I do find it helpful for me a lot of times is just to locate the angles. So I'm going to do that first. I did those ordered pairs, but I'm going to talk about then the angles that go around the unit circle. And I'm going to try to color coordinate it here a little bit. So these are all going to be what we consider special angles. You can have an angle of, all kinds of different degree measurements or radian measurements. But we're going to talk about our favorites, the 30 and the 45 and the 60. Okay, so let's try to eyeball that a little bit here. And so we'll say that that is 30 degrees. That's my theta. Let's see. How can I make this not really messy? I don't know if I can. So, yeah. Well, I'll try to squeeze it in here. 30 degrees. And we're talking about that right there. And then the coordinates for that point would be, if this is a unit circle, it's 1/2, no, it's not. It's the square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. And that would be the coordinates for that ordered pair. Okay, now we'll go to a 45 degree. So we're talking about 45 degree measurement here. So it's from the x-axis, not from the green line. And then the coordinates for that ordered pair, it's a little bit easier to remember because they're the same, square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. And then finally, we're going to have a 60 degree measurement. So from here to here, which would be 60 degrees. So hopefully you can see this with the different colors. Anyway, and then the coordinates for that are going to be 1/2, square root of 3 over 2. And those, like I said, you kind of have to learn a method for finding those ordered pairs. But then you can use what we used before. With the unit circle, the radius is 1. And so the sine is equal to, let me write this out. The sine for your angle, and these angles could be in radians. I just chose to do degrees. I didn't put a degree symbol there. The sine's going to be just y because r is 1, and the cosine is going to be x. And then the tangent, you're going to have to do y over x. Okay. And then you could do the reciprocals for all of those to get the other trig functions, okay? So I'm just going to kind of leave it at that and just kind of focus on the unit circle here. Okay, now we're going to go all the way around the unit circle. Now we're going to go over to, let's see, it'll be 120 degrees, which is going to be about there, okay? And so we're going from here all the way over to 120 degrees. And the reference angle, we're going to talk about reference angles later on, is a 60-degree angle. And that's why I would put it in purple, so it would match up to the purple one from the first quadrant. But we're in the second quadrant. So the coordinates are going to be the same except for the signs. So we're going to have a negative x, so it's going to be -1/2, comma, but y will still be positive, square root of 3 over 2. All right, and then we're going to go to here, which is going to be 135. I think I'm going to stop drawing the arcs because it's just going to get too many of them, but we're always measuring from the x-axis, that positive x-axis part, around, so our angle is measured from standard position. Okay, so that's going to be 135 degrees, and I'm only doing degrees here, I didn't do the radians, but anyway, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have coordinates here, a negative x though, and the y will still be positive. And I'm going to put a copy of the unit circle that'll look really pretty in your on one of the pages, so you can print that out if you want it or if you don't have it. And then the last one is going to be over here, which is going to be 150 degrees. And then you're going to have a negative square root of 3 over 2 and positive 1/2. Why is something moving? Just about, oops, just to bother me. Okay, I don't like it when it does that, but okay. That then is the second quadrant. Now we're going to go to the third quadrant. So I'm going to have an angle down here. That angle is going to be 210 degrees. That's 180 plus 30 if you want to know how I'm getting that. And now both the x and y are going to, so the reference angle is the 30-degree angle, and both of the x and y are going to be negative. So it's going to be negative square root 3 over 2 comma negative 1/2. And then our next one is going to be in blue. That's going to be 225 degrees. And again, they're both going to be negative, so negative square root 2 over 2, negative square root 2 over 2. Okay, something like that. So I don't think things move too much. And then finally, we're going to have one over here, which is going to be 240 degrees. Again, I'm taking 180 and I'm adding 60 to it. And so it's going to be the reference angle of 60 degrees. It's going to be negative 1/2, negative square root 3 over 2. Because we're in the third quadrant, both the x and y are going to be negative. Okay? So that takes care of the third quadrant. Now we go over to the fourth quadrant. That's going to be 300 degrees. So if you want to know how to find that, you take 360 degrees, subtract 60, and that'll give you the 300 degrees. In this case, though, the x is going to be positive, and the y is going to be negative. We'll run out of room. And that would be that angle then. Then we're going to have one that has a reference angle of 45 degrees. That's going to be 315 degrees. And then the coordinates are going to be square root 2 over 2, negative square root 2 over 2. And then finally our last one is going to be 330 degrees. So if you take 360 and subtract 30, you're going to get 330. And you get used to these angle measurements, but it takes a while. There's a lot of pieces of the puzzle in trigonometry. Okay, and so the coordinates are going to be the square root of 3 over 2, comma, negative 1/2. Okay, so those are the degree measurements all the way around the unit circle and the coordinates for the points on that circle. And then you can find the sine and the cosine and the tangent that way.